So here's a quick run. Jon Sabin, and I've been pronouncing your name wrong. I've been pronouncing it Sabin, but
Oh,
it's I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I'm forgiven. Good, good, good. All right, you tell everybody a little bit about yourself since we've been doing this for like, oy vey.
Oh, a bit about myself. Okay. I think. Hang on. Let's work this out. I'm 47 this year. Yes, I've been sitting here trying to work it out. So I'm 47 this year. I'm from Kenilworth, a lovely little town in the centre of England, in Warwickshire, and it's a beautiful town. I've been. I've had a lot of experiences since I've been doing my spiritual work. Since 2012, just coming towards the end of 2012 when I first started developing. And as you know, it was a complete and utter roller coaster ride awakening to do the work that I do. And I absolutely love it. I absolutely love what I do. I love my job, working with spirit, and all the experiences that we have that comes with that as well. So yeah, in short, yeah, I mean, I do churches, spiritual churches, centres, platform demonstrations, group sittings, one-to-ones, healing, yeah, loads of different stuff. Wherever spirit want to send me or get me to do, I sort of do, really. Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I noticed you did was you do charity events.
Yeah, we used to do quite a lot of charity events with, and there's a local charity that I work with, raising money for them when I can through the events that we do, is Coventry Comfort Carers, and it's a couple of lads, and it's quite close to my heart because they also went through very similar kind of things to what I did with drug abuse, homelessness, depression, anxiety, all that kind of stuff. And they actually help people out in the streets of Coventry, not just with the homeless side of things, but also people that are going through bad relationships and they need rehousing. Yeah, all different kinds of things they jump in with, which is really nice. So yeah, I do raise as much money as I can for them.
Okay. Now, one of the things that has been going on with you lately is this thing about the World Cup.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
I know that has something to do with soccer. I'm really not a sports fan. Really not a sports fan. But I've noticed you've been doing some live feeds about, for those of you who are into sports, the World Cup is the big ta-da on the soccer event. So please explain what's been going on.
Oh, it has been another roller coaster ride with this. When I first started my developing, I think it was in 2013, I was going to a meditation morning in Rugby, which was one of the spiritual centres that I used to work at. And it just seemed like an ordinary morning as I went to the meditation, and I got in there and we sat down, and it was a friend of mine, Yvonne, who was taking the session, and we went into meditation. We went off to our crystal cave just to spend some quality time and healing. And as I did, I got in there. I met with one of my lovely guides, stroke helpers, who is this quite large, very happy monk, and we were sitting there, and it was really odd because he was doing stuff that he wouldn't normally do. He was bathing me. He was ladling this bright yellow water over me, like cleansing me, and it was orange and then red and all the different colours. Okay. And we were sat talking. And he showed me some stuff about my path and my journey, things to come, and so on and so on. And then he said, have a look at this. And as I looked down, I saw this newspaper clipping with me in it. Jon Sabin predicts. And I'm like, well, okay, let's look at that a little bit further. And then I saw the World Cup. and I got really, really excited at that point. That all I could think of was, oh my God, England are going to win the World Cup, right?
Right.
And so I was jumping for joy. I mean, I'm not a big football fan at all, but I will watch England play.
Yeah.
And he showed me this thing, and then he said, "Don't get too excited. Don't get too excited." He said, "Sit down, and we'll go through it." So he went through it a bit more, and basically they showed me the winners of the 2018 World Cup and the final two teams that were going to be in the final. And I had to keep, and then he said, I've got to keep that to myself. And I was like, right, okay. And then he said 5 years, 5. He kept saying 5 and 5 years. I was like, all right, okay then. Didn't think anything of it, just left it at that, came out, and I kept it a secret. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my daughter, my family, Teresa, no one about this until the time was right, until I got the go-ahead from the spirit world to do my part of the job. So years passed, and every 6 months or so, I would get an update. If I went to an evening of mediumship with somebody, or to go and see one of my medium friends, and a message came through, it would usually be a message from my Uncle Tom or somebody from the spirit world that would come through and say, "Oh, the plans are working, it's all going ahead, da da da," and all this kind of stuff. And I'd get this every 6 months, just to obviously them to keep it there, and them keeping me going on it, and the last one I went to, I was sat here with Teresa, and I something came up on Facebook, and it was a Friday evening of a lady that was working down in Stratford, which is only about 10-15 miles away, and I knew I'd got to go, so I went. I just said, "Oh, I've got to go, Teresa. I'll see you later." So off I went. And I went down to Stratford, and sure enough, Uncle Tom came through, and he said, the only words that she said, she described him, and then she said, "He's got something important to tell you. The blueprints are now being finished." And that was it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is actually going to happen. This is this is real. So I came back. I still didn't say anything. I just said some interesting stuff had happened. Anyway, obviously, this year, the World Cup, well, last year it all started, didn't it? And England were going through, and then it got closer and closer to the point that I was like, right, okay, so this actual tournament is about to start now. What do I do? What am I supposed to do? And I asked Spirit back then for spoken word of this outcome, because obviously it was 5 years ago, and I wanted to make sure that I got it right. So this didn't happen. And it got closer and closer, and then England got through to the it was just before they got into the knockout rounds, and it was Panama. And the week before, I was before the Panama game, and the week before, I was panicking that much. I went to see my friend Yvonne to see if I could get some answers. But of course, you don't get the straight answers, do you, from Spirit? You just get, you know in your heart what is right. You know what you've got to do, da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like huge, but they're just saying, you know in your heart. And I'm like, oh my goodness me, what am I supposed to do? So I thought, right, I'm going away for the weekend for a couple of days. I need to go away and get my head sorted.
Yeah.
And I did, and we watched the I think it was the Panama game where they won 6-1. I think it was in the afternoon, and I still couldn't tell Teresa because I was told that I couldn't until the time was right. And she went home and left me there to do my usual healing and sitting under my pyramid and the fire and all that kind of stuff. And I was torn between these two teams. I couldn't remember. You know, when I started to panic, and I was thinking, God, is it this team or that team? So I asked them on the Sunday night, I said, if it is not this team, then please let me know tonight. Nothing was said. I said, because I'm going to make the phone call tomorrow. Nothing was said. So I got on the phone in the morning. I rang up the Sun newspaper, And I was like, hello, my name is Jon Sabin, and I'm a medium from Kenilworth, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. I was given a message 5 years ago that France would win the World Cup. And the whole of the other outcome was England were to be in the final against France, and they were going to lose. And the guy turned around to me, and he said, oh, that's fascinating. That would be interesting if it happens. And I'd be like, well, it'll be too late when it happens, won't it? And he just laughed. And that was the end of that. So I was like, right, okay. And I just didn't feel quite right. There was something not right about that. So I left it till I came home the next day, and I started emailing all the newspapers, all the radios, TV, and everybody of this story. And then I spoke to another friend of mine later in the evening, and I said, I was just a little bit concerned about what I've done. Can you feel if that's the right thing? And she was like, the spirit world are going mad at the moment. She said, I don't know what you've done. She said, but it's absolutely bang on. She said, you've done exactly the right thing. Now just sit back and watch it unfold. And she hadn't got a clue what she was talking about. So I was still a little bit concerned about all this, and it was the right thing. Anyway, a few days later, I had in the car, somebody sat in the car and said, England will make the final. Right, brilliant. That was my cue to get it all out properly and get it all out there. So I did. I tried absolutely everything to get this story out to everywhere, and nobody wanted to listen. And I got really frustrated with it, because I don't know whether it was because it was a spiritual thing, or I really don't know why they didn't want to listen. In the end, I got another guy from the Sun emailed me back who was quite interested in the story, and we gave them all the outcomes of all the games from France and England, even to the loss that they had to have with Belgium in their first game. And they were getting more interested as it sort of went on. And obviously we predicted all the other games until we got to the semi-final. And when we got to the semi-final, nothing else was said from the spirit world. And England lost in the semi-final. And we sat here, and it was one of those single moments when almost your whole world has just been, a plank has just been pulled away from your whole life, you know. And that moment, right up into the last minute of them being 2-1 down, and I was thinking, they're going to score in a minute, they're going to score, and then it's going to go to penalties, and they're going to win. And I'm saying to Teresa, have faith, this is going to happen, you know. And it didn't. And I was just like, I've never felt, it's hard to explain the feeling that of having something kept for a secret for 5 years, and then all of a sudden it just disappears in that split second of when that whistle blew. And I hadn't got a clue what had happened. And I sat there in just confused, angry, frustrated, sad, every emotion I could possibly think of at that moment of what had happened, why had it gone wrong, why hadn't somebody said something to me of this thing that went wrong. And I couldn't understand. Anyway, I had to go straight live on Facebook and tell everybody, I haven't got a clue what's happened. I really don't know. I can only tell you what I was told from Spirit, you know. So obviously I got called everything under the sun, didn't I? Crikey, fake, you name it. Go and sort your guides out. It all came through. It was quite upsetting in a way that people can turn just like that on the tip of a hat. But a good experience. Still hadn't got a clue what happened. You know, I didn't really sleep that night because everything was going through my head. Why would Spirit lie to me? Why would they put me in this situation? You know, it was just quite unbelievable, really. So obviously I was questioning my work. I was questioning me. Did I do it wrong? And I'm thinking, no, I was doing it. I did exactly what I was told to do when I was told to do it, etc., etc. And it just kept going over and over and over. Yeah. Anyway, and I had to go and stand up in a church and do a service. I was there 2 nights before and telling them that England were going to win. They didn't.
Okay.
So I looked a right fool. Excuse me. But I didn't mind, obviously I did at the time, but, I just put it behind me and got on with my work.
Yeah.
And it was a good night. Anyway, as we got through to towards the final, I think what had happened was everybody was too busy focusing on England getting to the final, even though they were going to lose anyway. They'd forgotten that Spirit had already predicted that France were going to win. And this was the outcome right from the beginning. But because we said England were going to be in the final, everybody was focusing on that, which was a bit of a shame. So it came to the final, and I'd pondered over this enough times, and I said to Teresa, I'm really considering if France don't win the final, I haven't got a clue what's gone on. I don't know why I was told this in the first place, and I'm really considering packing up what I do if France don't win.
Okay.
Not for the fact that for the football, but the fact that for the last 5 years I've kept this secret and put all my trust and faith in the spirit world, and it's not happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can imagine what I was. Well, I don't know if you could imagine what I was going through at that time of all these 5 years, and then all of a sudden it's just like gone out the window. Anyway, it comes to the final day on the Sunday, and I was going to St Michael's Healing Sanctuary in Birmingham to do an evening. Sorry, Tigger, stay down there, mate. Got me cats jumping up. And France started playing in the final against Croatia, and we sat and watched them in the car, and it was looking good for them. And just before we were going in, it finished and France won, which was a bit of a relief. I think I had got to the point before that though, because the night that I did at the church before was a really good night. It was like, okay, something's gone wrong, don't know what. Even my guides were coming in saying, look at all the work that you've done, all the people that you've helped over the years, all the experiences that you've had, and all this kind of stuff. They could obviously see, and they're obviously quite worried of my reaction of what possibly could have happened. So France won anyway, and while I was sitting in the back room meditating before I went on the rostrum, I was transported straight away to the Amazon rainforest,
Okay.
and it was beautiful. It was absolutely lovely. It was so green. It was so peaceful. You could hear the water dripping from the leaves. It was so clear, and I was being transported around and zooming into certain things. And my guides came in, one of my helpers, and they actually came in and apologised. And they said, John, we're ever so sorry, but things had to change. And I was like, right, okay, why? Or, can you tell me why? And then they showed me loss of life at the World Cup. And I was like, wow, okay, well, that is so understandable. They couldn't be shown to, because the message that came with it, I forgot to tell you about the message. The message that I had, I was woke up on one Sunday morning, is that we are here with you and we can influence certain things. So that was that was the message I was putting out with this whole World Cup, that they can influence the World Cup, so they can influence things in our lives and so on and so on. And it was such a deep message, even just on those few words, which was really nice. So with what would have happened if England had played in the final and lost, there was going to be a lot of high tempers and so on and so on. And you know what English fans are like. It really would have gone downhill to the point of a few people losing their lives. And I was actually shown this like a video in my head, and I saw the faces of these people that could have passed. And obviously at that point it all made sense. It really did. of why they changed it.
Yeah.
Because of this loss of life. Anyway, I went out to church and I went onto the rostrum. I did the evening. It was really good. I even told them the story and what had just happened. And I also, the next day, later on that night, I came back, went straight onto Facebook and told everybody what had happened and why it had happened. And a few people understood. So, of course, what happened Monday morning? Somebody sent me a photo thingy, screenshot of the Daily Mail, and 2 people did actually lose their lives in France due to the celebration. So that only says to me that even though there were certain things that they can influence, the 2 people in France that were going to pass were meant to pass, but those that were in Moscow, and for the fights that could have happened, they could intervene on that and stop those people from losing their lives when they weren't supposed to, or something like that. It would have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've still got a lot of questions. I'm going away this week to a lady that I went to see a couple of years ago, hopefully to see if I can get some more answers, because at the moment I'm a little bit sort of stuck in limbo, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
Well, I think I know that the soccer fans, the football fans, are very passionate. Now, I'm like I said, I'm not into sports, but I also, I do see the news, and I know that the football fans are very passionate about their sports, and I have seen riots and stuff over the years, so it does make sense that they're not going to show you everything, because and if they can change things, then they do change things, because loss of life. So it makes sense. Larry in the chat room says, makes perfect sense. Don't be gutted.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was, I don't know, it's really hard to explain the feelings that I had of shock and horror and everything else, because they'd sort of, the spirit world have bigged up what I'm sort of supposed to be doing, where I'm supposed to be going, all that kind of stuff, from all that. And now, obviously, are we still going to be doing the work that we're going to be doing in the future? Is that still going to happen? Is it not? Is it something that I've got to push and start all over again? Or I don't really know. Do you know what I mean? So at the moment, I'm just taking every day as it goes. We've got a house move in a couple of weeks, and we're getting married in a couple of weeks.
I know. I keep saying that Teresa's going to make an honest man of you.
Yeah.
She's going to deserve a very big medal and a monument and the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're really looking forward to that. So at the moment, we're just doing my work, getting my head down, and hopefully I'll get some more answers on Wednesday. To what's not so really to what happened, because I'm quite happy with everything that they've come out with, and they've told me, and it was nice of them to come and tell me, because they didn't have to.
Yeah.
Just see where things go really from there, and yeah.
And this could have been their way of getting you to believe more in yourself, and to know what your gut is saying, even though your mind is saying, oh my God, this this is going to happen, because that's what I was told. And as a good friend in the chat room, I'm not sure if he's still there or not, Eric Glynn, is that dreaded thing called oh goodness gracious, I can't think of the words right now. I can't think of the words. Brain fart. Sorry. that humans have a way of making their own choices. And you did keep with the word that you promised, that you wouldn't say anything, because you could have said anything at any time over those 5 years, and people would have looked at you like, tilted their head sideways. The cat looks at you like, what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so you kept your word. So that shows that, you're good at keeping your word, and hold on a second. Yep. And somebody has a question in the chat room. Larry has a question in the chat room. So go ahead, Larry, shoot the question, and I'll ask it as soon as it pops up. But I think it to me, it's just sort of a way of you, as much as you questioned everything, and as much as you questioned everything that, am I doing the right thing? You stuck by it.
Yeah.
So it's like you still, even though, you might think that spirit was like, having one on you, sort of thing, putting a joke on you, but it wasn't, because you believed in it enough that you stood there and said, this is what I'm getting, even though it was wrong in the end. It's still what you get. It you believed in it.
Yeah, very much so. It was, when it comes to the spirit world and my work with them and the things that they sort of show me and tell me, it's I mean, the experiences that I've had, it's mind-blowing, the stuff that's happened to me and the stuff that I've done over the years, So to have that, if they'd have come to me beforehand and said, "Oh, John, by the way, this isn't going to end how you think it's going to end," it probably would have made me a little bit better. But for those few days that I didn't know, it was just it wasn't a nice time. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Here's the word I was looking for: free will. Humans, we do have free will, and you had the free will to choose to pay attention and do what you were supposed to do, and not do, or not. To go and tell Teresa, because all you had to do was just tell one person, and then that would have been breaking pact with spirit. Okay, I actually have two questions in the chat room. Larry says, John, have you ever asked spirit for answers but nothing comes, and how do you handle it?
Good question. I mean, that was one perfect time, actually. It took them a few days for them to bring the answers, and I really didn't think I was going to get any answers. I thought that was it. I'm not going to hear anything else. And I was so pleased in the end that I did. But I'd actually, before we got to the Sunday, it was tough to handle it, not having the answers there and then. I literally just held my hands up and said, I do not know. They must have their own reasons. There must be something that's gone on that they don't want to tell me about. It was a bit heart-wrenching at the time, because it's something that's gone on for so long and was so specific and could have been something so huge for the world to, or for those that did follow the football. I mean, if that story had got out and it did happen the way that it did, it would have been, the message would have been huge for spirit and, the people of the earth, for those that wanted to listen, for those that were sitting on the fence, that spirit there and can influence these certain things, and then everything else that goes with that. If you look deeper and deeper into the message itself, as we know, is healing on just an unlimited amount of energy, But apart from that, I'm trying to think if I have asked. I don't normally ask questions ask spirit questions and not get any answers. Sometimes if I ask, I have to sort of get in touch with my higher self, or just sort of feel the answer and then test it that way. But I don't think I've actually sat there and said, "Can you answer me this question?"
Exactly. Okay, there's another question in the chat room from Diane. Do you think that spirit does those things to test us, to see if we really believe what we are hearing from them?
I don't think. I'm not 100% sure, because in a way, I mean, it's we're in classroom, aren't we? This is what life is about, We're we're at school, so everything is a test, the whole thing of this, I think, is my leap of faith. And I've had a few leap of faiths doing this work and getting to where I am now. So if it was another test, then game on. It was certainly a good test. I did my job perfectly. I probably didn't react in the way that they thought I was going to react when it happened. but yeah, you know, I feel that I've come out the other side with it. I understood. Obviously, they obviously were a little bit worried. That's why they gave me the answers, because yeah, I probably would have thrown the towel in a little bit. But yeah, it certainly was a good test anyway. But yeah, they know with me that when I hear them, and I do hear them quite often, that yeah, I always trust in what they tell me. I've got full on trust with spirit, because of the things that have happened to me, and they've brought me out the other side. Which is a little odd when, because yeah, you know, that trust thing was just like blown away in that split second when that whistle went.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And I'm like, what the hell? What's gone on? Teresa, what's just happened? So yeah, it was a good one. And then obviously, yeah, if they hadn't, and I trusted that they would, the outcome would be exactly the same. If it hadn't have been the same, then yeah, I probably would be sitting here with a completely different story.
Yeah. So Larry in the chat room says, so then spirit can hold out answers, and it's not that something that I personally am, you're doing wrong, or the person who's asking the question. It's so yeah, okay.
Yes, the spirit can hold out answers. That it's not something he's doing wrong. No, that's right. Yeah, from my experience alone, just from that, they literally, when was the semi-final? Something like the Thursday before or something like that. So it was nearly a week. That they held the answers from me, probably to see how I was going to react. And I said to Teresa, I failed on that one, I think.
No, I think as Diane says, trust was the test. That was the test, was whether or not you could trust what you were getting.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
you know.
Yeah, it was so hard.
Different forms of trust, whether they could trust you for the 5 years to keep quiet, which we all know that I couldn't do. You know, but it was something that it was a test, and maybe not the same way that everybody looks at it as a test, but it was a test of sorts. And I think you passed it, because not only did you not, I mean, yes, you questioned whether or not you were going to continue on doing what you do, but you didn't stop. No. It didn't stop you beforehand, just because, like, you know, because at that moment, some people just, like, you know, toss their hands up in the air, F this, and toss, as my friends would say, as in the UK would say, toss all their toys out of the pram, and, you know, and just be done. You know, but you didn't do this. Yes, you questioned it, you thought about it, but you didn't do it.
No, and it was so difficult getting up in that church the day after as well.
Yeah.
You know, feeling the way that I was, and almost preaching in a way to what I do. You know, as in trust in spirit, have faith, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, how can I stand up here and do this when I've just had probably the biggest knock of my life?
Yeah.
You know, with that trust with them, and that really made me think. Then, can I really do this? If this final outcome doesn't happen on Sunday, how can I stand up and say, trust, have faith, confidence, when I don't myself? That was my biggest issue.
Yeah. That was a big one. Yeah. Okay. Would you like to take a little break? We don't have a whole lot of time left, because we did start late because I messed up.
No, carry on if you want.
Okay, cool. What the heck happened? I just heard myself again. Okay, you have... Oh, Larry's typing in the chat room. I like being able to see when people are typing. Okay. Tell everybody a little bit about Teresa.
Oh.
She's probably sitting there going, oh, please don't ask that question.
No, she'll probably be asleep by now.
Yeah.
No, she should be anyway. She'll listen on the phone. Teresa's absolutely lovely. And it's a lovely story as well. I had a lot of not so nice relationships in the past. Not some of it my own fault, some of it wasn't, you know. So yeah, it was really interesting. And I got to this point of where do you know what? I'm happy with myself now. I'm happy with my work. I'm happy with my life. I'm not actually bothered if I meet anybody. And it was my birthday. It was November the 14th, and it'll be 4 years this year. I went to a friend's party. I was asked to go. My friend said to me, "What are you doing for your birthday?" I said, "Nothing." She said, "Do you want to come to my party?" I said, "Okay then." And I went to this party. Anyway, Teresa was there, and I sat talking to her, and her dad came through, her dad who's passed, and started giving her messages. And I'm like, is this really happening? You know, I'd had like half a bottle of beer, and I'm like, this doesn't normally happen when I have a drink, so it's obviously meant to happen right here, right now. So I carried on. Anyway, she was bawling her eyes out. And,
you made her cry on the first date. How rude!
I know. It wasn't even a date.
What did you think?
Yeah, it blew her away, to be honest. And we spent the sort of evening sort of chatting and talking and what have you, and it just went on from there, really. We became friends after that for probably a good 6 months or so before it came official. But she's absolutely lovely. She's completely different to what I've experienced in the past with relationships. You know, they're always quite volatile, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But this is just like a breath of fresh air. And then, funnily enough, I was told before I started seeing her that I was going to start meeting a blonde lady, and I thought, oh, that's not right because I don't normally go for blondes. But yeah, I'll go with the flow, leave it out there, you know. So yeah, then I met this lovely blonde girl, and then I was told after I'd met her, only about 6 months or so, that I was going to propose to her on a certain day, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll just leave it out there. If it happens, it happens. Anyway, this date got closer and closer and closer and closer, and I thought, well, actually, we've had such an awesome relationship. If anybody deserves it, she deserves it. And I deserve it as well. And yeah, I started making plans then, probably about 6 months or more before the day, and it was going to be on my birthday. So it would have been our sort of anniversary. So it happened on our 3-year anniversary. We went off to my friend's place in Nottingham. They got like a fishery because Teresa got me into fishing to chill out. And we'd got their cabin on top of the water, and we'd been out for the day, and it was all arranged that I'd got this 3-course meal that was being made for us, and a big bottle of champagne and all that. And while she went for a shower, we got the fishing rods in, and on the end of the fishing rod, I placed a box with a Haribo ring in it, which is like a sweet ring, and chucked it in while she was having a shower. So then she come back, and I went off for a shower. But what we didn't know was the fish in the blooming lake liked Haribos. So these fish are biting on this rod while I'm having a shower. I've come back, she's going, the fish were nibbling at that rod, and I'm thinking, oh my God, you didn't touch it, did you? She's going, no. I said, well, that's all right then, that's all right. And so we had dinner, and we had a few drinks, and I said, let's play a little game, let's have a little bit of fun. It was getting dark. I said, let's pretend and see who can reel in the biggest fish, all right, on video. So I get down there, and I've got my rod, and I'm reeling it in. Oh my God, I've got a whopper, it's huge, I've got a whale and all this business, and I've reeled mine in. And I said, right, now it's your turn, go down there. And she did it. She did a cracking video. I think you can actually see it on my Facebook. And she cut this whopper anyway, and she pulls out this box, and she's like, what's that? And then as she opens it, I got down on one knee, and you could see the ring come out from underneath the camera while I'm on my knees. And yeah, I asked her there and then, and yeah, she said yeah. Aww. So yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice. It was really romantic. and it was
It
lovely.
wouldn't have been romantic if the fish had got a hold of it, for sure.
Oh no, I know, I nearly died. But no, it was really nice. It was lovely. She did say yes after a few tears and stuff. So yeah, it was really good. But she's absolutely fantastic. She also has a really good connection to spirit when she uses it.
Mhm.
She's sat there before and she's turned around to me. She's gone, "Who's Tallulah?" And I said, "Oh, you got any more on that?" And she was like, "No, I've just heard Tallulah." I said, "Oh, well, that was my mum coming through to me. My mum had a duck called Tallulah, and
Okay.
it's not an ordinary name, is it really? I mean, where
Yeah.
would you pull that from?" So she gets the little bits, and she's very good at drawing as well. She can draw spirits. They come to her now and again, and she will get her pen and paper out, and she will do a nice little sketch of them, and she gets information from them as well to put with it, which is really nice.
And I do believe the last time I had you on, I said I would have to have Teresa on so that she could do a drawing.
Mm.
But now we can't do it because we don't have the video, but she can still do it. And I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. She sends you the picture, can't she?
But I think the question was, yes, you said you had in past relationships, they didn't work out so good.
No.
Were those people connected to spirit in any way?
In fact, one of them was.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was. And that's a really interesting one. Because it's when you I was still quite new to doing this. I was still finding my way, and I still am now, but you know what I mean, when it's early days.
Yeah.
And you expect certain spiritual people or people on that path to live their life by what they talk about and so on and so on. But when you've got somebody that's so negative and draws that negativity into themselves, it's quite mind-blowing to actually see it. And if you think to yourself, are you really doing that to yourself right now? You know, and when you say to them, you're actually attracting everything that you're asking for? I don't see it. It's really odd. It's really odd. I know we all do it to a point, and when we forget sometimes, but yeah, when you actually see it firsthand and you think, wow.
Yeah, the law of attraction is an amazing thing, whether we realize we're doing it or not. You know, and some people say, well, you know, the law of attraction doesn't, but it does. You know, whether we're, you know, attracting the good things in spirit, the not so good things in spirit, and you know, and it's very amazing. But it's just, I was curious to ask what, you know, because you said you had some not so good relationships before, and then here's Teresa, and she's just at the beginning of her journey, where she, you know, is slowly allowing the spirit to work with her. So I think that's one of the things that is not only that, you know, like the first meeting you had her dad came through. You know, did she know who you were before you
yeah,
before you sat down?
Yeah, she did.
Her?
Yeah, that's an interesting. Well, I suppose it's all part of it, really. I used to see the girl that I used to see, Corinne. She was at the end of my sort of drug abuse days, and Corinne's brother was Teresa's boyfriend back then.
Okay.
So we sort of knew each other from that.
Oh, so there was a connection there. It wasn't just like two total strangers. You did sort of have a connection.
Yeah.
Well, they say spirit works in special and individual ways.
Yeah, they certainly do, and it's when you sort of that first night that we sort of sat and talked like that. I didn't even see it then. I didn't even know what was going on then at all until later on, and then I asked Spirit, and I asked what was going on, and then that was that really.
Yeah, it's funny because I did some readings earlier today, and the people who asked me about their love lives or their partners to come or to go or whatever the case may be, I kept getting this same, and I draw cards. That's my tool. And my cards kept saying relationship dynamics, that you have to sort of step out of the box. You, like you said, Spirit told you were going to meet a blonde lady, and you like, I don't normally go for blondes. Hello, step out of that little box. You know, that was Spirit's nice way of putting it. I'd be like, could you please? I don't like living in a box, so step out of it, you know. But that's one of the things that I think is interesting about Spirit is they make you step out of your box, whether they tell you to step out of your box or they just like, oh no, this is what's going to happen. It's like, no, hush, child. Trust me, it's going to happen. Of all the things that you do, like I said, you do platform, you do group events, you do private sessions, and one of the things you didn't say was paranormal investigations. And of all the things that you do, which is your least favorite?
Oh, my least favorite. Do you know what? To be honest, I don't even think I've got one. Yeah, I wouldn't even put it as a least favorite. I would put it as probably the most fearful. But then you see, it varies because I get so nervous sometimes, even if I'm going on a one-to-one. Even if I'm going to stand up on platform in front of 150 people plus. Yeah, you've got the nerves, but it's different. You know, even if I'm going to a church or a centre for, crikey, I've walked into a centre before and done a service for 3 people. You know, but you just don't know what's going to come out. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's all as nerve-wracking as it is. But I think because of the experiences that I've had and the fun that I've had, and each day that I work is completely different. I don't think there's anything that I really don't like doing within it. I mean, even the healing system that we do is fantastic. Paranormal investigations, also, we've had some great stuff, not only for myself, but for the whole group, which was fantastic, mind-blowing stuff for them and myself. So, yeah, I wouldn't say there's something that I least like doing because I love it all. Okay.
When you were saying that you, no matter what you do, you have those I'm going to call them butterflies in your stomach moments.
Yeah.
But I think that's what keeps us grounded, because even musicians and actors, they're great at their craft, they're great at what they do, but before they get on stage, before they do what they do, they get that, and that's what keeps them, you know, it keeps the ego out of it. That's the way I look at it. It keeps your ego out of it, because you're not sit there, you know, I'm freaking awesome, I'm going to go and I'm going to sit and do these readings. No, you still go, okay, well, like, what happens if the Spirit decides it's not going to have a conversation with me and it doesn't want to reach out, and nobody, you know, you go through all the little not so good things, but then once you hit that stage, once you sit down with your client in front of you, it just flows. So I think everybody gets that moment of eek.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, too right. And there was a couple of times where it hasn't worked, you know, and it hasn't happened, and you've literally just got this blank space sat in front of you, and it's like, is anybody there?
Hello.
And it's really odd. The first time I had it, I was sat doing a group, excuse me, in a house in Coventry, and I sat. There must have been about 9 people in this room, and this guy came and sat next to me, and he turned around and he said to me straight away, he said, "I'm a non-believer. I'm a skeptic." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks for that." And you're sat right next to me. Anyway, it just went from the information was just really bitty. It was like the energy had changed in the room when he sat down and said that, and I was like, oh. So I carried on, did the best I could, and it wasn't really happening. I said, well, look, let's do the one-to-ones and do it that way, and hopefully I can get something that comes through then. And one of the ladies, one of the girls, she sat in front of me, and it was just this weird blankness of nothing. And I said, I'm ever sorry, but I haven't got anything for you at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my worst nightmares, is getting up on platform and not having anything, which I'm sure will happen one day, but I'm prepared because I can just talk. I can talk. I can have a laugh. You know what I mean? I'm an entertainer. That's what I've done for the past 30 years. So, yeah, I'll be all right until spirit, come in. But yeah, at that moment, it was like, I'm ever so sorry. I literally have nothing for you. And she said that's really weird, because she normally gets, she's the one that normally gets the most, and mediums can't leave her alone. And I thought it was all down to this energy. And then the next lady that came in and sat down, and straight away, I've got your mum here, and she's got this really strange of a cackle kind of laugh. She burst into tears, and that was it. That was her reading over. That was all she wanted. That was all she wanted.
Just the confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that's all some people really need. And I find it hysterical. I find it funny when, I have a friend who, his mother's passed, and him and his mother had a discussion before she passed, and she said, if there's an afterlife, I will come back and I will tell you something specific, and you'll know that it's really me by this thing. And he came to me and he goes, do you know anybody? I was like, I have somebody in mind, but I kept getting this because I was at work, so it doesn't, I can't, it's not the time or place to have this discussion. I said, but you already know that she's there because you see the little signs, because people are waiting for that big, the thunderbolt and lightning and all this big ta-da thing, and it's the little moments. And he says, well, my in French it's called my don, my gift. Since she passed, I haven't been able to do it. And it's because that's spirit telling you it's time to take a break. So sometimes it's interesting that as much as somebody wants a whole thing, like you said, the first woman, she normally gets, mediums go straight to her. It's like she's like the beacon, and all the other woman needed was that confirmation, the laugh. Because everybody has something specific and individual about them. So for this woman, that was her mother, was her laugh. So I think it's fun that people get that one little thing. Because again, everybody wants the big ta-da moment.
Yeah, and sometimes it really doesn't happen. And on occasion, you can have those messages that are so specific and so spot on, it's just like mind blowing. But then you also get those ones that can be so generic that that quite a few people can take a lot of the stuff within it, and it's I love the way that spirit work, because they do mess around with things like that, and they do like to have a laugh. But it's for the people that are listening, it could hit 2 or 3 different people, or even more.
Yeah.
So we just have to go with what we're given, obviously, because it's not for us. But yeah, that's another. Yeah, just one of those things that's quite interesting with them and the way they work.
Have you ever done a reading, whether it be in a church platform or a one-on-one private session, where you were given this message that was, I'm going to use, so way out in left field that it just made absolutely no sense to you, and you were like questioning, am I really going to say this, to the church or whatever? Is this really, what you want me to say? It's like, hello, this is like, and you got to the point where you're just like, okay, fine, I'll say it. And do you I know most of the readings that we do aren't meant for us to understand, but this one thing that just kind of went, I don't think so, but you had to do it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Hush.
All the time. I get loads of those. And sometimes it can be just to get a connection with somebody. right from when I first started developing and started getting my message out there, I always got that belief, and I always know that the messages aren't for us, and it could be that one simple thing. For example, a paperclip. Spirit give you this picture of a paperclip. And I'm like, right, well, that means absolutely nothing. Why would I really want to give a paperclip out? Are you sure you're giving me the right thing? Everything goes through your mind. But then we just don't know, that the person that you're reading for, or the people in the church, that Grandad might have cut himself on a paperclip, his finger had gone gammy, had his finger chopped off, and then his hand went and his hand chopped. It could be the most perfect piece of evidence for that person. So no, yeah, I do get them quite often. I was stood up the other week, and I just got this Chinese takeaway.
Okay.
And I'm like, right, okay. Are you sure? Chinese takeaway. And they're like, yep, Chinese takeaway. I was like, okay then. So who had Chinese takeaway last night? Or the night before? And nobody answered. I was like, oh, okay then. I know I had Chinese takeaway. Are you sure it's Chinese takeaway? I'm just getting this Chinese takeaway. Okay, who was thinking about having a Chinese takeaway last night? Or had a Chinese takeaway, and then somebody finally put their hand up and said, well, we didn't actually have a Chinese takeaway, but we made Chinese at home. But we were talking about Chinese takeaway before that. And yeah, that's how I got the connection.
Okay, I like that one.
but yeah, they do like to throw things in now and again. Today, when I've been at church this evening in Loughborough, and it was the most randomest. There was a couple of random things coming in there, and one of them was a penguin. And I said, can you understand a penguin? Why have I got to give you a penguin? And she started laughing. And there's something to do with this penguin. And when you see a penguin, she goes, don't worry, she says, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was like, okay, as long as you do, because I don't. But it's there again, it's not for us, it's for them, and we've just got to have that faith and trust in what Spirit give you to give it. Oh, and there was a great story. I was in Warwick a few years ago, actually, and I sat reading for these two lovely ladies, and we started the evening off with one of them, and I'd got so-and-so through, I can't remember who come through now, and and she couldn't understand, so I got the other one in, they both sat together, and I sat for 2 hours reading for these ladies, and earlier on, this guy had come through, and this is a good one about trust. This guy had come through, and he was standing tall in front of me. He got his jacket on. He got his lovely brown wavy hair. He'd got this Tom Selleck moustache going on him and all this. And he kept coming through saying, I'm your uncle. I'm your uncle. And they were going, no, we haven't got an uncle that's passed that looks like that. And I'm going, right, okay then. So we carried on. Auntie so-and-so came in, grandma, uncles, the other, da-da-da. This guy kept coming through. I said, this guy's still here again. He's just showing me his face again. With his moustache, tall bloke, da-da-da, more information. No, don't know who you're talking about. 2 hours this went on for with these ladies, 2 or 3 hours. Anyway, I said, well, thanks very much. I hope you had a lovely evening. They said, we've had a great evening, but we still don't know who this bloke is. All right, fair enough. So just know he's there. Off I went. 5 minutes, I'm in the car. The phone rings. And it's one of these ladies. She's, John, thank you ever so much for tonight. We had a wonderful evening. Just thought I'd give you a quick ring. I said, okay. She said, this guy, she said, that's been here all evening that we didn't know, that you kept saying was our uncle, da-da-da. I said, yeah. She goes, you described him down to a T, she said. However, we didn't think he was dead. I said, I beg your pardon. She said, they've been trying to get hold of us all evening, but obviously they've had the phones switched off. He died at 3 o'clock that afternoon. And he came through to them in the evening of the reading. But obviously they couldn't take him because they didn't think he was passed.
Oh, God. Yeah. And it's like,
yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, I'm ever so sorry for your loss, but you can't get better evidence than that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are the voicemail that voice that Spirit went to.
Yeah, that's mad.
Night, Daisy. Have a good night. Have a good day. Diane's gotta go. She's in
Good night,
Australia.
Diane.
Actually, it's good day. She's in Australia, so it's morning for her.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so that's awesome. That like I said, you are Spirit's voicemail.
Mm.
There you go. um, is there anything that you haven't done so far
Mm.
that you want to, aside from Mary Teresa, which we know is going to happen because she's already said yes, and you can't back out, so you're done.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know actually. Yeah, I mean, there's loads of stuff. As in what, just things in life or
In
on the
general,
spirit?
because I know you, I know you've done some silly things on Facebook. That black tar mask thing. Still, I will never forget that
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, there's loads of stuff. There's loads of places that I want to go.
Okay.
I think that would be an experience, the energies at these places. You know, I'd love to go UFO spotting. You know, those places in America the mountains where they come flying out the mountains and stuff like that. See, I'd be the kind of person that wants to actually climb up there, but apparently you can't get anywhere near them because the army don't let you. You know, Area 51 and stuff like that. I mean, I love all the galactic beings and so on. Yeah.
Well, I have a couple of friends who live in the UK, and more than likely, I'm going to torture the name of the town, Lowestoft.
Yep.
Lowestoft? Okay. And there's a park or something that's near them that they go to, and they have seen many UFOs.
Mm.
You know, so there's that. Connect up with Alex Collins, and he'll tell you all about it. Larry's saying the name of it is Roswell, New Mexico.
Yes. Yeah. I'd just like to go and feel the energies of some places like that.
Yeah.
I've seen a few. You know, I've seen a few with my naked eye as well, which is nice. But yeah, there's just some certain places and spiritual places as well that I'd like to, and Teresa would like to go and have a look and test out, and yeah, some of the old ancient ruins and things like that. But as for doing stuff, as in like jumping out of the plane and things like that, no, I think I'll keep my feet on the ground.
I think Teresa will say, "Let me have the insurance policy signed, sealed,
Yeah.
and stamped, darling, before you go do such foolish things."
Yeah, I think she'd be the one to actually do it, and I'd be watching.
And he'd be like this, "Okay, go ahead, jump, darling, I'll catch you."
Yeah.
Now you mentioned something during one of your things. You went to a crystal cave. Now, is that actually literally a crystal cave?
It is. It's in a meditation. So you know where we have our special place.
Okay.
That we go to. The crystal cave is my own personal healing cave.
Okay.
And everybody can have one.
Yeah.
It's a lovely little walk down to the cave, but the entrance of your cave always changes. And obviously the walk to it always changes as well, depending on how you're feeling, what's going on in your life. So you have to take note of everything, literally from when you close your eyes, get out of your body, walk down your pathway, what's your path like, gravel, what's going on around. Then your cave that's in front of you, the entrance, sometimes it'll have scriptures on it. Yeah, it could be jagged, it could be smooth. You step inside, you may go down more of a tunnel this time than what you would normally. You know, whatever crystals are appearing, what's on the floor, and then when you step out into the actual cave itself, yeah, it can change quite often, especially with colour and crystals. And you can put whatever you like in there. I've been in there a couple of times, and it's the fire that's normally in the middle, and I'll have either my rocking chair, which I'm sitting in at the moment. I'll either have that or a big bean bag that I can sit by the fire. Sometimes it will change, and there will be a river running through it of different colours, different colour waters. You know, it does change, yeah, quite often.
Well, sounds like fun. I'm going to be having, as soon as I can work her into it, a friend is going to come and do a meditation here on the show, which will be fun. Yeah, so that should be interesting, because we've had, with this show, I've never been, from where I am, now I don't know if there are spiritual churches, but I've never been to a spiritual church service. And a friend of the show and my friend Eric Glynn one time came on the show and did a spiritual service. And I know it took a little longer than normal because he had to explain everything. Because I always have like, why and what, and so that was, but it was very interesting. So I like testing new boundaries. So when that happens, hopefully, when we do the meditation, you'll come, and maybe one day you'll come and do a meditation.
Yeah, there are some on my website that I've done. I'm trying to think what page they're on now.
I did put the links of your website into. Actually, hold on. We're going to do this because the chat room does not get recorded like it used to. So I'm going to do this. All right. Anybody who wants to get a hold of Jon, spiritualmedium.org.uk. Yeah. On Twitter, check out Jon Sabin, JONSABIN, Psychic, PSYCHIC. And on Facebook, Jon Sabin, Psychic Medium. The links are in the chat room, but you can always just, Google him, find him. And if you can't find him, message me. I will make sure that you get a connection to him. But I'm not going to see if I can choose this. But it's interesting. I think that your meditation for your crystal cave, the reason I asked was because when you were talking about it, I've seen many crystal caves on Facebook. A lot of people post pictures and whatnot. And when you said that you go into your crystal cave, I saw one in my head, and I thought, I wonder if it's an actual real one. So maybe that's where,
but if you saw one in your head, then that would probably be your one for you to go to and sit and have some healing.
I'm gonna have to try that one out because I've never gone to a crystal cave. I usually go to did a guided meditation once, and it was you walked up the garden path and yada yada yada, and you went into this big wooden house, and you sat down in front of a fireplace or a log cabin, and you sat down in front of a fireplace and yada yada yada. And there was, when I did it, I saw two chairs, two big armchairs with a table in the middle and a pot of tea and 2 cups, and the tea was steaming and the fire was roaring, and I sat in the chair. And as I turned to look back to the wall that I had just come through the door in, there was no longer a wall, but a wall of forest, and you could see the eyes and the twinklings going on. So that's usually where I go, because for me there's a nice connection with the woods and stuff like that. So, but I think I'll check out my crystal cave.
Yeah, have a look. Just having a look on the website now, and it's under useful stuff.
So technical. Here we go.
Yeah. It's on the links across the top. We've even got the link with the football on there as well, and the journey through that. So I've still got a few bits to do on that. But yeah, in useful stuff or spiritual stuff, and then there's like drop down links to spiritual stuff. Always change for some reason. So spiritual stuff. There's about 1, 2. There's the chakra meditation, nature meditation, meeting an animal guide, giving and receiving universal love, and meeting a spirit guide.
So people go check that out. That's spiritualmedium.org.uk. That is Jon's website. And then you can always follow him on Twitter and on Facebook. And as I said, if you can't find him, let me know. I know exactly where he is. If I can't find him, Teresa can. First off, we're about close to the end. I'm going to say big fat thank you for putting up with my, as somebody in the beginning said, my teething pains of the beginning of the show. This is actually, I believe, the second show I've done, that maybe the third, of the all-written new platform. And I'm really enjoying this platform. I like it. We try and get a break. If we started on time, we could have had a musical break, and you can always put pictures into the chat room, which I'm really grateful that for the people who were here in the beginning did do small readings in the beginning and amuse themselves while Mama D was trying to get her stuff together. So, do you have anything coming up that you want to advertise?
I don't at the moment. It's been a really interesting year with things up and down. So at the moment, for the rest of the year, because we've got the move coming, we've got the wedding, trying to sort out a honeymoon. I really haven't got anything planned. I will be doing a lot more Facebook Lives again, which is one of the things that I need to do. But apart from that, that's it. It's just concentrating on us, getting the housing sorted, because we're taking on Teresa's mum. She's coming to live with us at the new place because she needs a full-time carer. So Teresa's taken her on there. Teresa's a carer anyway, but yeah, it's a lot easier to be in the same house than it is travelling backwards and forwards. So yeah, we're literally just concentrating on us really at the moment. So it's just watch this space really and see what happens.
Yeah, and watch Facebook, because like I said, I've seen you do a few Facebook Lives. I do a lot. The people be like, "Oh shit, she's on again." They'll be doing the same things. You say, "Oh my God, no, it's Jon again." Put Teresa on. Let her do a Facebook Live one day. She can dish all the dirt on Jon Sabin.
Yeah, well, she has sat with me before when we've done it, but then she sort of gets that shy side and goes and sits on the settee. I'll try.
Well, we'll have her on, and her and I'll have a girl chat and talk and make fun of you and poke at you.
Yeah,
which is what we're good at. But yeah, so I want to thank everybody who hung around. Let's see if I can get. Eric Lynn was here. We have Cheryl. We have Larry. Supergirl, Supernatural Radio. We have a guest in the room, and of course the ever adorable and my savior, my goddess, Jenny Satori, for bringing me back into figuring out what I was doing wrong. Still don't know what I was doing wrong, but half of the echo, I now know what I was doing wrong. But I thank you, Jon, for agreeing. Very interesting about, like I said, the World Cup story. I think that's interesting, and I like the idea that you could see it as you can see it as a test as to whether or not your trust in spirit was that intense, and I think it was. And I don't think that. Hopefully, spirit decides not to have to test you again, because you're a pretty good guy.
Bless you. Yeah, I hope they're going to test me like that again. I'm not sure I could get through it again.
You can. Well, the next test is when you have to say "I do" and then listen to Teresa every day the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you, everybody, for coming to the show. Next week, all else fails, we're going to have another awesome 2-hour show. My guest will be Holly Stokes, but I will let everybody know as much as possible, as soon as possible. And I have to figure out where the heck I am over there. There we go. Y'all behave yourselves. Y'all be good, and know that you are loved and guided by Spirit every day of our lives. Thank you, Jon.
Bless you. Thank you very much.